Good evening, good evening, good evening. How you doing? This is Coach Carvel Bailey, and I want to welcome you to the Christmas Eve edition of Life and Basketball. Now, here on this show, what we do is we discuss how the game of basketball as well as life are synergistic and how they have so much in common with one another. And so, what we do on this show is we interview athletes, former athletes, coaches, former coaches, officials, former officials, as well as those individuals that have been very, very influential in this game that we call basketball. And so on the show, we let individuals talk about how a little orange ball has oftentimes changed or even saved their life. And so tonight is no different. And I am proud. I'm proud to bring on someone that I respect. This brother's basketball mind is second to none in terms of understanding the game, in terms of being able to teach the game, as well as being able to play the game. He has been a proven winner on all levels: high school, junior college, Division I, as well as coaching. All right, this individual understands that it's more than just being able to play, it's what comes with it, with everything else. And so I am proud to be able to present to some and introduce to others. All right, my neighbor from across the way, I'm here in Chicago, from the Milwaukee area, Milwaukee's own. If you don't know him, you should definitely know him. All right, so get a pen, get some paper, take some notes, and be ready to be educated, all right, by someone that definitely knows what they're doing. So I like to present to some, introduce to others, my buddy, my man, Coach Revonte Dantzler. Tay, how you feeling, my brother?
I'm doing well, Coach. I'm doing well. Can't complain. Just ended the semester for school. You know, I'm a teacher, educator as well. So I'm just trying to soak up all this time with my family and enjoy it while I can.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I definitely appreciate it. And I forgot to mention, I got it right in front of me. I forgot to mention that this show was birthed by my first book, which is called Understanding Life Through the Game of Basketball.
Mm.
And so life is really just principles. And what good coaches do, what good teachers do, is they teach principles. They don't necessarily teach specifics, because those principles are kind of can be used in a multitude of things. So what this book does is it talks about life principles in a basketball type of way, and it's good for all type of leaders. So I'll let you all know how you can get copies of this. But the show was birthed from this book, Tay, Understanding Life Through the Game of Basketball. So we named the show Life and Basketball. But before we go any further, man, one, I appreciate you for being on. Happy holidays to you and your family. But tell the listening audience a little bit about who is Revonte Dantzler, the person.
The person. I would say I'm laid back. I'm a watcher and observer. I just I stand for everything that's positive. I put God at the head of my life. When I was coach at AAU, we had a slogan on our t-shirts: God first, family, and then basketball, in that order. And that's the same message that I've tried to preach to the young men that I've been able to coach over the years. And I'm just about giving back to my community. I've been coaching. This is my 15th year
Mm.
coaching. This will be my 6th year as the head coach at Milwaukee Vincent. We've had a great number of good young men come through our program. And one thing that I've tried to speak to them about is one day the basketball is going to start bouncing. What are you going to do? What is your legacy going to be? in terms of, a person and as an athlete. And with that term student athlete, I'll take that to heart because I was a student athlete once. I've been through it all, even though it seems like it was long ago, but it seemed like it was just last night.
Right.
So that's what, I try to bring to the table. And, that's what I live by. And, family, God first, family, then basketball.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. And that's a good foundation, and if you can keep them in that order,
Yes.
Then that's how you create balance. So RJ, how you doing today, my brother? How you doing? So, Coach, what I want to talk about now, you being from the Milwaukee area, talk to us a little bit about how did the meal, as I guess it's called, how did Milwaukee form and shape you to be the Revonte Dantzler that we see today, if that makes sense?
Well, coming up, playing basketball, I started playing basketball 7, 8, years old, and it was something that I wanted to do. So I put forth, as much effort as I could rather, back then. And my mom, I came from a single parent home. Father wasn't around as much, but I did have a great support system. But with her allowing me to find myself, travel, to the inner city, from where we stayed at, and blend in with different young men who came from the same background of life as me, and just trying to, find a way to get out, find an exit plan. And having that background that allowed me to become the man that I am today, and I wouldn't take none of it back. Especially, being out there 13, 14 years old, catching the bus, every day to go play basketball, catching the bus 20, 30 minutes. I grew up in the hood, but then, Mom, we moved out a little bit, but she never let me forget, my roots. And I love her today for that, because without that, I don't know, where I would be without that, without that experience, going through, different playgrounds is rough, the guns, drugs, everything. But it helped shape me to the person I am. And everybody has a testimony. And, that's mine, just being able to come up through the struggles. Not having food sometimes, I talk to my kids about syrup sandwiches. They don't know anything about that. Powdered milk and sugar. I don't have it rough, but I might not have everything I want, but I'm blessed, and that I'm doing something, that's greater than basketball and everything itself.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, that's interesting that you said that, in terms of, we all have different paths, right? We all have different paths. And, just because you may not be necessarily right in the heart of it, don't mean that you're not part of it, if that makes sense. So now, can you break down to us exactly when you was on that bus ride, right? So the thing that stood out to me with everything that you said, right? Support system, you had a good support system. And part of that support system was allowing you to kind of venture out on your own to discover things for Ravonte. I mean, is that about right?
Yes.
Right. So now being able to get out and explore things for yourself, one, how important was that as a youngster, being able to kind of understand who you were away from your family, and then on that 20-minute bus ride, especially when you're going into the inner city, them 20 minutes may seem like 45 at a certain point, right?
Yeah.
So, but that 20 minutes, how did that help your mindset in terms of understanding yourself better, even away from your parents? Like, how did that alone time, because you ain't with friends, you ain't kicking it, you ain't in the gym shooting, you really got like 20 minutes to where it's just you and Ravonte. So how did that time really, really help you kind of process your goals, so to speak?
Well, really just I knew what I wanted to do, and I
Okay.
wanted to be a good basketball player. And here, the big thing back then was it was warning. It was a league. Numerous players played in it.
Okay.
Some of the best players in Milwaukee. It still goes on to this day, but it's not as big as it was back then because that was your calling card. Like if you wanted to be the who's who in basketball, the warning will set you up for that. And then when I got asked to play by my coach, who rest in peace, Clarence Mall. I was at a barbershop in the inner city, and I was kind of tall and stuff. So he approached my mom, about playing. So mom, she wasn't playing. She was like, "Look, if anything happened to my son, it's gonna be a problem."
Right.
So, but this guy, I've never met him before until that day in the barbershop, and it was like it was genuine. So we stayed in the hood. Like I said, we moved out a little bit. It was
Yeah.
kind of the outer hood, but just that bus ride alone just helped me, lock into, hey, if I want to be known, I got to go down here and represent. You know what I'm saying? So I can't go down here and be a pushover. I want to make a name for myself. This is what I want to do. So that bus ride allowed me to just see, visualize the different people on the bus, the outside surroundings. I was young. Mom said, "Hey, I'm working. You're gonna have to, I'll show you how to get the bus." And I was able to do that, pretty much daily. I was going maybe from 12 to maybe 8 or 9 at night.
Okay.
14, like 14, 15, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
So a lot of parents won't do that today, but my mom trusted me. It's not as rough as it was back then. So a lot of parents don't allow their kids to ride, the public transportation.
Right.
But it allowed me just to grow up, to grow up and be a man, because as you know, Coach, a number of kids today, a lot of them don't know the address. They don't know how to get homes.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing, just being able to fend for myself, kind of grow up to be, a young man at an early age. I was a man of the house. I had this basketball goal. I wasn't going to let anything stop me. And, I was embraced. I made a name for myself. And I was just able to, meet and develop relationships, long-lasting relationships with a lot of those guys, whether it's on my team or other teams. It's a brotherhood, like in basketball, like I know it is in Chicago. We brother and sisters, we right next to each other. And Chicago, we always get looked at and compared to, Chicago, because they raise some killers. I mean, every day it ain't just one. It's like 10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, we had to, and I had to, try to make a name for myself. And I was just blessed, my mother, didn't allow to hold me back. And,
and I'm gonna get to the word that you just said about 4 or 5 times. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But understanding that you wanted basketball to be part of your life, and now you said like 7th, 8th grade, started, or no, 6th and 7th grade started playing, right?
But before that, I was in the Warner. Yep.
Right. No, with Warner. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Now, Milwaukee, if people don't really understand or really know, Milwaukee high school basketball is just as competitive in terms of rivalries as Chicago is, almost as any inner city is. Now, you went to Mesmer. And now, how was that transition from 8th grade to now high school? How was that transition? I don't have it. It's downstairs. No. It is downstairs.
No, that's
yeah,
I had to leave mine upstairs.
Live TV. Yeah, hey, for 3 seasons he's been on. But like, how has that how was that transition for you? Because so many parents, and it's parents that watch this show that may have 7th grade, 8th graders, and the same thing with high school as well as college. It's a transition. The game is a little faster. The game is a little stronger. You went now to high school, and you had a tremendous high school career, and even to the point sophomore year to where you all went down to state. But how was that transition? How did you manage to maintain the same level or increase your level going from grammar school to now high school to where you're about to be asked to be a big part of this program?
Well, my mom, let's go to 8th grade. So, I had some grade problems, 8th grade. So, I played my 7th grade year, my 8th grade year. I never really jail with that. My 7th grade, I did teams, so I played a couple games, and I quit.
Okay.
And then 8th grade year, I remember my first scorecard, was a 0.6. 8th grade. So my mom was like, "Hey, listen, I understand you want to do this, but if you don't handle these academics, you won't be bouncing any ball for anybody, anywhere."
Right.
So, I was hanging around the wrong crowd, in the gangs a little bit.
Yeah.
Really just being around those type of guys. So I don't know if it was just revelation. I just, had an epiphany, and it just clicked. Like, okay, if this is really what I want to do, I have to lock into the academic part first before I become an athlete. So, my 8th grade year, we had a great run. We lost in the championship game. We were supposed to get blown out. We playing against guys that's 6'4", 6'5", compared to some of these teams now who have the guys 6'7", 6'8".
Right.
This team Edison, they had 4 or 5 guys who were like 6'4" and 6'5". So just going through that experience and that whole 8th grade year, my mom, she didn't let me go to the high school I wanted to go to.
Okay.
All of my friends, Washington High School, prestigious high school, a lot of greats, Latrell Spreewell, graduated from there, Calvin Rayford, who's a McDonald's All-American.
Tell us the name, Tay. Tell us the name. Drop the name.
So, I wanted to go there. But mom was like, "No, you're going to Mesmer." I'm like, "Man, my cousin was already there."
Okay.
So, it'd be good for you. You're not going to follow your friends. You're not going to go down that path. Because she saw that I possibly, could go down that path. So she steered me, look, you're going to be with your family. You got a great support system, private school. I was like, okay. And then, kind of find out one of my best friends was going. So I ended up going. As far as the transition, it took some time, but it didn't take long.
Okay.
Because, I had my family there, my cousin, my older cousin, one of my older cousins was there. And I had some friends that I played warning with in the summer. So we had a relationship. So it was like, I got some guys that I know.
It made it,
For the transition, wasn't that much. It was just the academic part, it was kind of tough.
Yeah.
The academic part was tough from struggling 8th grade to now having to, mature into, a high school student and athlete. And just being able to balance, coach, it was kind of hard. Like, man, okay, we got practice right after school, and man, I'm tired. I got to go home.
Right.
7:30, 8 o'clock. I got to do homework and then do it all over again.
Right. So let me ask you this question, Tay, and that's interesting. What's the difference? Well, my first question: what was the school that you wanted to go to?
I wanted to go to Washington High School.
Okay. Now, what was different? Because most people would look at private school and say that may be a little bit harder. What did private school offer you that you think you was missing in public school to where you had that 0.6?
I think the stability and and the structure. Definitely in private school. You know, the structure and stability, and having, you know, like my family, some of my cousins, and then my friends that, you know, I grew up with playing you know, summer league basketball. Now we're going to be high school teammates for the next, you know, 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
our relationship will continue to grow. You know, you're gonna have your peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
But that was the main thing, that structure. She wanted that structure for me, you know, because I was kind of all over the place. I didn't know where I was gonna go.
Yeah.
But she said, you know, this is the best place for you. And I didn't have any other choice.
So is it safe to say, and I want this to sting to some parents that may be watching, but is it safe to say that your mother chose Revonte life and future over Revonte basketball career?
Yes, yes. Man, one thing about my mom, she's been very inspirational, and you know, I never want to let her down. And, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and when she told me that I wasn't going to Washington, it hurt, you know, because I wanted to go, and she was like, "No," she like, "You don't want to go to Washington? Okay, you can go to Vincent." And what's crazy is I stayed up the street from Vincent, but I
Okay.
never knew about it. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I didn't know nothing about it, that it would become, you know, what it is today. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I could have been a part of that, but I was like, yes, and well, like, what is that? And
Right.
honestly, I had never heard of that in high school. But I heard of
Okay.
Washington because, you know, silent, like I said, silence in the middle of the trail, and, you know, some of these guys. So I wanted to go there, and she was like, no, you're going to create your own path. You know,
Okay.
you need a
Yeah.
little bit more structure. So I think she looked out for that first. She looked out
Mm-hmm.
for me first,
Mm-hmm.
first in my education.
Mm-hmm.
She
Mm-hmm.
always did, and she still to this day. You know, education is the key. Like, without education,
Absolutely.
what are you going to do?
Absolutely. And I salute mom, you know, first and foremost above anything else. And the reason that I asked that question was because I'm pretty sure, you know, like I know, so many parents now are making life decisions for their young athletes based on basketball. And it's really the other way around, because now your mom, okay, so you know, and I say this all the time, but a personal coach of mine, you know, that like helps me with personal development as well as like business. So his favorite quote is, environment is stronger than willpower. Your mom knew, based on the environment she put you in, you had the ability, because as you said, it wasn't really, you know, gang, you know, affiliated, you
Yeah,
know, got, you know, but wasn't really there. But your mom understood that you was at a pivotal point in your life and you could go either way.
yeah,
And based on the environment which you went, if basketball was involved or not, because basketball would have still been involved. It was involved, and you had 0.6, right?
yeah,
So now I'm gonna put you in a place where you can get structure and you can get stability, which again, just like in basketball, when you have those players that have structure and have those players that have stability, they can probably become more effective. But now you go on sophomore year, you all go on to the state championship. Junior year, you all go on to win it. Talk about that feeling, because a lot of athletes don't get. So one, my point is, it really don't matter where you are. You want to win where you are.
mm-hmm.
Right? Like if you're in the worst league and you're complaining about being in the worst league, but you're not dominating the worst league, then you really can't complain. You know,
Right.
and I used to tell my student athletes that. They say, Coach, this class easy. I shouldn't be in here. Well, get an A. You know what I'm saying? You're at a C right now. So you can't. So to your point, like going to that state championship
Mm-hmm.
and losing, or running out of time, because I like to say you didn't lose, you just ran out of time.
Mm-hmm.
Running out of time sophomore year, what did that do to you as a competitor now going into your junior year? And I'm pretty sure you might have been still taking that bus ride, right?
Yeah,
Back and forth, right?
yeah,
Right?
definitely. Yeah.
But what did that, because even not taking that bus ride, you had something that your buddies on the other side didn't have. You've been to the state championship. So your mentality and confidence has probably taken off, and understanding how you shoot the leather off the ball. For those people that don't know, it had to, right? That had to have something with it. And I'm pretty sure it's so at what point in time, and I'm asking you a couple questions, but at what point in time did you know you had arrived? That's part two of the question. Part one is, what was that mental shift between losing that summer and having to wait until that next summer? And something maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I think something probably that might have been a pivotal summer for Revonte Dantzler basketball career and life after losing that state championship. Because we know the end of the story. You went on to win your junior year. You went on to be a JUCO All-American, right? So all these things happened after that loss. Talk to us about that.
Well, what I used to do after the season, I would try to take, a couple of days off,
Okay.
To just, recharge my brain and just, think about everything and, get prepared for the summer, and then think about what could we have done, better? What could I have done better? And something I tell, my kids about, especially when we get to the playoffs, is no regrets. Like, just you don't want to have no regrets. So if you out there, going, half speed and whatever, not competing, and then okay, it's the fourth quarter, second half, you want to turn it up and y'all down or whatever. Like there's no light switch. But the one thing we did was, we stayed together as a unit after the loss. We worked together. Some of us play AAU together.
Okay.
So we knew our time was coming. And honestly, we had a chance. We had a great run. We had one championship. We could have at least got 3, maybe 4. But things happen, injuries, grades, guys transfer. But I just stayed dialed into my craft. I knew I had to get better. I was going to be looked up to as a leader, on the team. And I just took it upon myself to just get better mentally, physically, individually. And then as a team, we stayed together. We stayed tight. And then once we were able to get into the gym, summer league, we played summer league together. So we were able to gel and we were kicking tail. And everybody was like, oh, like they better watch out for Mesmer.
Okay.
So, our time was coming. And one thing that I like to talk about is, the city conference and the suburb conference and our conference, but it's a lot of city teams that didn't want to play us, that year. And
it's the same way here. You got the public league and the Catholic league, and depending on, they may not want that smoke because
right.
Lose.
Right.
If they play you close, you look bad. If they beat you, you look worse.
Exactly. And we weren't ducking any action, and if y'all were on a schedule, you better circle it because we were going to show up. But we didn't want to have that same feeling our junior year that we had our sophomore year. And you can see it in guys' eyes and in the way they work, chip on our shoulder, everybody holding each other accountable. And one thing I like to say is on good teams, good players hold players accountable. On good teams, coaches hold players accountable. On great teams, players hold players accountable.
Absolutely. That's a good one.
That's a quote that I tell my players all the time because I can't be the one out there always, yelling. Like, y'all have to hold each other accountable. Yeah. And that's why we're able to win. Yeah. I was a leader. I get on guys and guys get on. Like, it's no friction like it is today. Today, guys take it as, you want to fight or something. Like, no, man, we trying to win. I'm trying to help you get better. The mistake you made or whatever you did, we need to correct it. So then we can try to improve it and try to get the tip. And, just make you a better player overall. So I can't take constructive criticism today as much as back then.
Absolutely. And to your point, I was talking so I had Coach Rob Smith on the show, from Simeon last season, and we were just talking about how like winners and champions have two different mindsets, right? You can be a winner, but like champions,
it's a whole nother level.
It's a whole nother level, to your point, like holding one another accountable. And it's not just on the court, but it's off the court, because, as you said, if it's grades or if it's a 7:30 practice, whatever it may be, because we're only as strong as that weakest link. Mm-hmm. So therefore, everybody has to hold each other accountable. But I want you to talk about real fast before we get into senior and college. Mm-hmm. No light switch. That's deep. That's heavy. But I don't want it to go over people's head. Can you break that down?
One thing that I've always tried to do as a player was every time I step on the court, I wanted to play hard. Mm-hmm. And everyone hates to lose, but in order to become a great winner, you got to take some L's.
Yeah.
So, and I never want to be one of the reasons why, you lost because of this and that. I competed every time I was on the court. Like I had a goal. I used to watch a lot of college basketball. And I said, I'm going to be on TV one day, and wasn't anything going to stop me from doing that. And with the light switch, you hear them talk about that. I hear Barkley and I'm like, there's no light switch. Like, guys, okay, you know what? Today we playing cupcake, so I'm gonna take it easy.
Yeah.
No, like you gotta go for the kill. Like if you smell blood, you gotta go for it. Don't wait. Mm-hmm. And that's what I can't stand about watching some guys today. If they don't compete every second, that's one of our 5 pillars. You got to compete every second you on the floor, and if not, then you best believe there's somebody down there that want to get those minutes, and they're going to compete. Mm-hmm. So there's no light. You can't turn it. You cannot turn it on. If you're going to go hard or go home,
Absolutely.
Go hard all the way. Go hard for the whole 40 minutes. Not okay. It's 10 minutes left in the game. Now I'm going to turn it on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely. And so now senior year, you all are favorite to repeat. What happened? After you shake your head.
Well, I mean, we had a great summer. I was in Vegas, and I came back. I had a good showing in Vegas. I remember. Then I was named one of the top 5, preseason players in the state. Okay. And we were only one of 2 teams to have 2 guys from our team on there, us and our Racing Lutheran. So we had all these expectations coming off the state championship. Third game, I remember first game of the season, we won, second game, I got ejected from the first game for some crazy stuff for defending my cousin, and I didn't even do nothing. So we had to sit out the next game. And then we lost it in the third game. I remember at Racing Lutheran. No, Racing. Oh my gosh, it'll come to me. But I went up for a layup, and a guy, he just took my legs out. I came down, tore my ACL.
Wow.
I didn't know it was torn then, because that wasn't happening as much as it is now.
Right.
So I sat out a couple weeks, wait till the swelling got down, and I tried to play again in a pivotal game. And I remember it was running down the court. I was throwing a lob to my guy Terry Black, and my knee just buckled. So I had to get an MRI and everything. And it was Racing St. Catharines. That's what the Racing St. Catharines. Okay. It was at Racing St. Catharines. And after that game at home, like I said, I sat out and just tried to get well iced, and kind of find out I had a torn ACL, and I had to. It was devastating. After all we done and what we prepared to do that season, it still hurts. It stings like crazy. It's still to this day.
Now, and I can tell that it do, because when I, asked, you just, shook your head. Like,
So
how often do you think about that? Like, I mean, do you think about that often? Just
yeah,
the whole senior year?
I really do, because it was, I couldn't be out there with my guys. You know
Right,
what I'm saying? Like, 4 or 5, like 6 or 7 of us were seniors.
right.
And my big cousin, we got a championship together. He graduated. My
Okay.
younger cousin was a junior, so he had another chance.
Yeah,
And it was like I'm on the bench, like just cringing. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Because I
yeah.
know for a fact, I mean, we had a great chance if I was playing. We could have won because
Of
I was
winning.
point
Yeah,
guard and whatnot. So
yeah.
I dictated everything, and yeah, my troops, my boys, they needed me, and it was one less soldier out there to compete with them.
Yeah, it'll be out of your control, man.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
now, you attend St. Cloud. So now you go to the
Cloud County,
junior.
Cloud County.
Oh, right. Okay,
Yep,
okay,
yep,
okay. Cloud County. So
yep.
now, walk us through the JUCO route. Like, what happened to where you win a state championship, or you go to state, you win a state championship. Yeah, you had an injury. Was it due to the injury, and like maybe coaches not trusting that you can give them? Like, what happened?
Right. Good, great question, Coach. And all the schools that were recruiting me, my junior year, once I had an injury, a lot of them, like you said, they disappeared. They're like Houdini.
Yeah.
They just disappeared. And it was only, one school, which is our home school, University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee.
Okay.
So they call it University of Milwaukee now.
Yeah.
What was the only ones that really still wanted me. So, I was contemplating what I wanted to do. I was working after my senior year, and a guy that I know, real well, he was at a JUCO at Cloud County in Kansas. And so, he was telling the people about me, and the coach called me, and we worked it out. I went there, but I redshirted. And it was probably the best thing for me. I wanted to get healthy.
Okay.
I wasn't taking it serious. And then when I got to practice, I was like, I made a couple moves. And I was like, I can play with these guys. I said, let me get back in shape.
Yeah.
So then I had a work regimen. I'm just telling you, I almost tell nobody do this now, but I had gained some weight, and the doctor was like, you got to take some pressure off your knees, so you got to lose weight, especially come off the knee injury.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everybody said, oh man, you ain't gonna be the same, woo woo, yada yada. But in my mind, I'm like, coach, it's in one ear out the other. Like you're not gonna dictate my future.
Right. There you go.
It's either gonna be me or the man above that's gonna dictate what I'm gonna do.
Right. Absolutely.
So I put in the work. Our physical therapist at Cloud was great. And I just rehabbed, and then my diet coach was biscuits and rice. And diet.
Okay.
Listen, don't ask me where the heck I got that from.
Right.
All I can say is it worked for me, and I had lost about like 25 pounds.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I love bread, so I still do today.
Yeah.
But I don't know why the biscuit and rice worked for me. And I was on a bike faithfully like 25 minutes a day. Like they'd be practicing. Okay. I was on a bike.
Yeah.
And the weight just started dropping off.
Okay.
And so then I was able to start hitting the weights a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
Just get my body right. And I sat out my first year just to get the experience and see what's going on. Still practicing and just getting the feel. And then that next year, I remember I just, kind of took off. I remember like it was yesterday, first game against McCook County, which is a well-known school in Nebraska. Mm-hmm. I had 29 points, in the first game. And, from there, I just kind of, went into my own a little bit. So I tried to grow up. But one thing I want to say about JUCO, and I know JUCO a lot of times get a bad rap, but I don't know why. Because some of the best players, that came out of junior college
in the world, absolutely.
and it's not about the path, it's about everybody has their own path. Wherever D1, D2, D3, everybody has their own path. I could have went D1. I didn't go junior college because of grades. My grades were there. Okay. I went because the injury and all the people that were recruiting me,
Yeah.
fell back. So I wanted
Yeah.
to prove to myself and to them that, hey, y'all the ones that messed up. Let me get
Mm-hmm.
myself right, and then I'm gonna be back at that Division I level where
Yeah.
I could be.
Yeah.
So I didn't let the injury. I looked at it as a stepping stone. Everything happens for a reason,
Absolutely.
and it just set me up for something bigger. And it just, I knew in my mind I could overcome some
Yeah.
things by doing that, and I was able, to do that. And I stayed at Cloud for 3 years. I played 2, and
Mm-hmm.
it was some of the best times of my life. And I was, I'm still in contact with some people there. And about
Mm-hmm.
a month and a half ago, I was talking to our former cheerleading coach, and I was just telling her, I just said I wouldn't take anything, from it. I had some good times, some bad times, but it all helped me become a man.
Absolutely.
From the inner city going
Yeah.
to, in Kansas,
Yeah. The
population,
farm. Yeah.
10,000, 15,000,
Yeah.
predominantly
Yeah.
white.
Yeah.
Everybody can't handle that.
Right.
So
Right.
like I said, I was out on my own. It made me a man, and junior college, there's nothing like it for a lot of people. And I know a lot of young men who's taking that route and going on to do bigger, better things. Like I said, it's about your journey, whatever that path may be. Everybody on
Absolutely.
the same path. It could be D2 to D1. You've seen guys go from D3 to D1.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it don't matter.
Yeah, no, it's it's all different, and I tell parents, so and the coaching program that I do, and I help student athletes become that individual that they need to be in order to get to that level, right? Be the right recruit.com, right? I'll drop it in the chat later on, but got a free training that really explains some things from a head coach's standpoint that other people won't tell you. But you said earlier, like 4 times in a row, you're talking about relationships, right? Relationships. This game and life is built on relationships and positive relationships based on the relationships that you had going into high school and during high school kind of helped you on that path to become that man, right? So now you had to become, like, you probably couldn't go to, and again, big ups to mom, because, and just how God works, you probably couldn't go to Cloud County had you not went to Mesmer, because Mesmer got you prepared to become the person you needed to be to be able to go to Cloud County. Because as you said, you're in the middle of a farm, predominantly white, and I know, and now my brother went to Allen County. So I understand Jayhawk Conference. He actually went to Allen County with J.R. Ryder, right? I got, a J.R. Ryder story that I ain't gonna tell on air, but great guy. And I mean, he was at Allen County with J.R. Ryder, and literally Tark used to call the payphone like every 30 minutes, like the pay, saying, because it wasn't back then, it wasn't, it was the payphone, J.R. Ryder. So I understand, right, like that environment. I had a player that played for me at Truman that had transferred from Fort Scott. So I understand that terrain. A lot of people may not, but the Jayhawk Conference was, for years and decades, the top junior college conference in the nation.
Yes, facts.
Night in and night out. When now, it kind of shifted a little bit. Texas, you had the Chipola's had they run, but from a conference standpoint, now it's like more so, in that Texas area, but the Jayhawk Conference. And so you redshirted 1 year, you played 2, and you became a JUCO All-American. Which, and at that point, and I've had a few, but like, you're really one of the top 10 players in the country on that level. Talk about the work ethic, right? So now we talk about, it doesn't really matter how many offers you have. You only need one, right? And you only need the right one. Fact. Right. So what was that journey like? Because you were in the system, you was at a place. If people don't understand Jayhawk Conference, those fans are coming out because there's no other entertainment.
Brutal, yes.
There is no other entertainment. So they coming out. And so when you talk about being the person, right? I'm pretty sure it was some things that was said to you that you probably won't say on air. You know what I'm saying? You know, as well as you had those people clapping for you. When I was in Malcolm X, we went to southeastern Iowa, and we saw this old lady. She had to be about 80 something. And my point guard was like, "Hey, coach, man, that old lady talking smart." I said, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, man, she's talking about y'all gonna lose tonight." Oh. And I said, "Huh?" And when we got to the game, she had a little cushion seat, and she was sitting at half court. Like, they come out. So talk about, right, being an All-American in a Jayhawk conference. Talk about the work that you had to put in, more so from a focus standpoint, because it wasn't really about what you had to do. It was about what you had to stop doing.
Man, that it brings back so many memories. Just the grind day to day. You know, I wanted to stay in the gym. Like I said, I wasn't going to let anything, you know, stop me from getting to that Division I level.
Yeah.
You know, now, granted, if I'd have went a different route, that's fine. But I just knew, like, in my heart, like, listen, I'm a Division I player. You know, before I got injured, I was that, and that's what I'm going to be once I overcome my injury.
Yeah.
But the journey, it was, man, I didn't really want to come back home. Like, I want to stay, like, in the gym. You know, I said I want to stay at school, go to summer school. So it just books and ball. Ball in that order. You know what I'm saying? Books first and ball. And, you know, I just knew, and just the things that my mom told me, the educational piece stuck in my head. And it's more mental. The game is more mental than physical.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're not mentally strong in junior college, let me just say this. For anybody listening, like if junior college, you have to be mentally tough. There's no room for the weak. Like I said, you're in a town, 10, 15,000, you know, 98% of them are, you know, Caucasian, white, whatnot. You want to hear some of everything, but I didn't let that, you know, deter me. I had friends who, you know, one guy, they almost ran him off the road. We were running hills, it's hot, on the dirt road, and he was going back to Oklahoma City. That's where he was from, like, in 2 days. You know what I'm saying? I didn't experience nothing like that where I got ran off the road, but you know, some racial slurs, like that. But I just took it all in, Coach. I just took it all in, and that's the mental part. That's the part that you're asking about. You have to not let that dictate. I mean, you're going to have all type of people in the world and say stuff to you and whatnot, but you can't let them get you off your rocker. You know what I'm saying? If you have a goal and a vision, you know, you got to have that tunnel vision. You got to have those blinders on. And that's the mindset, you know what I'm saying, that I kind of had. You know, and I tried to stay away from home. If I did come home, it was, you know, for a week or two. Then I'm back on the road. I'm back to Kansas, you know, you know, whatnot. And just working on my craft and trying to better myself and trying to win games. Jayhawk, man, the Jayhawk, that was, listen, that was some of the best every night. Like you said, my best friends, let him rest in heaven. He went to Allen County, and I was going to try to transfer to Allen County, but I would have to sit out a year. I wanted to go bad, but Cloud, it was meant for me to be at Cloud.
Absolutely. And so now, we got about 15 minutes because both our wives is owners, and we gonna respect they time. So now, throughout all this, you want to go to the city school. Mom say you going private. You know, you experience some highs, and then you had an ultimate low with getting hurt. You know, you go to JUCO, you sit out, you know, you have an amazing 2-year career, and now it's that time, and you wind up right back where you knew that you could be, Division I, you're in the Sun Belt Conference, South Alabama. Talk to us about the transition now. So everybody wants to go D1, Tay, right? You know, JUCO is probably a route that everybody should take. If nothing else, and I'm not saying everybody has to take it, but if they had the opportunity to live the life of a junior college coach or a student athlete, they should, to just experience it. But everybody want to go Division I, right? And I'm gonna go through this, but I don't want to rush it because I want to get to Vincent. Talk about Division I. Everybody want to go Division I. They don't really understand when you get to Division I, you talk about structure and system from the start of the day to the end of the day. Like when people find out really what Division I entails, because I went from a Division III to Division I, and it was totally different, right? And I've coached at JUCO, and I tried to run it like a Division I. But talk for those parents that say my kid is D1, and I know you hear it all the time as a coach. My kid D1, and then when you look at the parent, screw face, because it's not that the kid may not have this. They don't have something, and you know what that Division I level entails, and they ain't that person yet. Talk about what Division I really is.
Well, two things. I'm glad you brought that up. Two things I always tell, my high schoolers. Two things you must have at the college level, especially division level. Two things. You have to have self-discipline and time management. Self-discipline and time management. Why? Because, you get on campus, wherever you at, there's going to be parties, whatever. Now, are you going to take it upon yourself? Okay, you have a midterm on Friday. Thursday night, is party night for most places, whatever. Are you going to go to that party, and hang out with your friends? Or are you going to be self-disciplined enough to, okay, you know what? Let me study a little bit more so I can pass this midterm. And that's self-discipline and time management. You know what I'm saying? Or, after practice, let me just say, so it starts with an academic advisor. You're going to have an academic advisor. That's going to be your go-to person for everything. You're going to have academic advisor. You're going to have mandatory study hall. It's like your whole day is already mapped out for you. Your classes are structured. Everything is structured around practice time. South Alabama, we used to practice, I would say around 2 or 3. So I get our class around 12, have 2 hours, go eat in the cafe, wind down, maybe show up to practice, to get treatment, get some shots up. And then after practice, dinner, we got to get there before 5:30, the cafe closes. Then we got to go to study hall for 2 hours. So that's like 8 o'clock. Then, man, you're tired. Guys want to go out, play the video game, whatever. It's like, man, what do you want to do? So you only have so much time in a day. On your off day, you'll get off day. You're supposed to get off day every 6 or 7 days.
7 day,
So on the off day, you don't want to do nothing but lay around. So your whole day is planned out for you parents, for the kids, and if you don't, your child doesn't want to abide by that, then the opportunity will be given to something else. You're not gonna be able to hold his hand and call the coaches and ream the coaches. Those coaches are getting paid, nicely at each level, and they're not gonna let you dictate their livelihood. Because if your child or son can't abide by the rules of the program, then they will be removed from the program and somebody else will be given an opportunity. And you see it so much, especially here in Milwaukee, man. We get so many young guys that go to college, nice colleges, and then they're back. Like, what happened? It's always the coach. Like, it's
coach tripping.
Like, we have to take some ownership, responsibility for your actions, whatever it may be. If it was, smoking, whatever, like, learn from it. Everybody deserves a second opportunity, and you will probably get that, but you have to earn it.
If you can take ownership of what went wrong, so it don't happen again. Because and that's a great point. And the reason why so many of those people come home is because they really went to a school for somebody else and not for them. Right, because if you would have went for yourself, you probably would have went to a different school that would have been a better fit for you. Right. So now let me ask you this question. Right. So now you walked us through Division One. Talk to us about, right, everybody, as a kid, I know I did, that one shining moment, right? Like the ball is tipped, like you live for that tournament.
Mm-hmm.
You all won the conference, and I believe 2000, right?
2 years in a
So,
row.
yeah. So now going to the tournament, talk to us about that feeling.
Well, actually, we were the regular season champ. We lost the game to go to
the conference. Okay.
We won the conference regular season. And,
okay.
We lost, man, by 1 point. I had a shot. I was off balance. I missed it badly.
Okay.
We lost by 1. And that still stings as well. But
yeah,
the journey to get there. I remember we started off I think like 2-5, and everybody had wrote us off, and I kept telling guys, I remember, man, we're gonna get it together. We're gonna get it. We were a new team. And then we went on like we ended up being like 20-10 that year. So we only lost 5 more games.
Okay. Yeah.
To 20-10.
Yeah.
So everybody started clicking. We started winning, and it was just some great experiences. Now, that's one thing I wish I could have had a chance to play in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. Okay.
One thing I can't, fault is, like I said, no regrets. I left everything out there on the floor. The ball may not have bounced my way or whatnot, but I didn't let that dictate, the other end of the floor. So I may score 8 points this game, but I may get 7, 8 rebounds. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm gonna do my best to lock my man up. And that's the thing that guys today, the young dudes today, they let one side of the game of the floor impact the other. Like if they're not a lot of times, you're not going to see them going hard on defense.
Mm-hmm.
And like, a couple of my favorite players, Kobe, Jordan, KG, they never cheated the game.
No, you can't.
They never. Those are 3 of my favorite players. I tried to emulate KG and Kobe footwork, but they never cheated the game of basketball, and that's why they were as successful as they were.
As they were, absolutely. No, man, and that's, we were the same way when I was at UIC, when I was walk on to UIC, and we lost to Butler by 1 to go to the NCAA tournament. But now you were top 10 and 3-point shooting in the whole NCAA in 2001. I want to get to Vincent now, but I want to come back because I want briefly for you to kind of share some of your secrets with us, not all of them. So like after college, speeding it up, you have an opportunity to go back to work for Mesmer.
Yeah.
As an assistant coach. You went there, and now you're at Vincent. One, briefly, how was it going back to that alma mater? But now, 2, being at Vincent, a school which you probably could have went to that was right by your house. Mm-hmm. How does it feel now representing that maroon and gold? Yeah.
Well, after college, I played overseas for a minute. I played in London, England.
Okay.
Great experience. Tried to, get back on the team when I injuries.
Yeah.
I just didn't, get another call, but it was a great experience. And I knew that I wanted to get in the coach. I still want to play, but at the same time, I want to give back. And so, when I moved to Texas and I came back to Milwaukee, I got an opportunity to coach on my alma mater. I jumped at it, ran with it. Boom, no questions asked. And just to enter the building every day, see the banner, see our picture in there.
Yeah.
Guys, coach, woo. Guys are looking up to you because they ultimately, everybody wants to win a state championship.
Absolutely.
So, I just talk to them about our journey and what we did and what they should do as a team, because they were talented, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not all about the talent. It's not all about talent. You got to have
Mm-hmm.
brains. You got to be selfless.
Mm-hmm.
Guys have to buy into their role.
Yeah.
Guys have to buy into
Yeah.
their role. If there's
Yeah.
any egos or any friction and it can't be worked out, that's going to be problematic for the team. And I just shared with them that, and we didn't really have any issues. It was just, some guys weren't hungry enough.
Right.
They tried to turn the light switch on. Lights, it was off. It
Yeah.
was dark. It was dark. Some guys had a full brightness, and other guys lights were dim or closed.
Mm-hmm.
That was the thing. But the journey, I coached there for about 2 or 3 years, and then I went on to be another assistant coach in other schools, and then ultimately got my opportunity at Vincent. Where I also been teaching for the past 8 years, and just been in the building. But that Maroon and Gold, man, they've had some players. Carl Landry, Rodney Buford. I mean, guys. We got Deontay Burton, who plays in the city.
Yeah.
Had an opportunity to coach him, who's a great kid, and a host of number other guys. And one thing, like I told you, the one thing I'm most proud of our program is our graduation rate.
Yes.
I've had 38 out of 42 players graduate.
Okay.
Now, I mean, some players get 100%, but dealing in inner city, people come from different ways of life, and
and I was telling my classes, right, that when I first started working with kids, like back in 1993, I was told that if you helped one, you did your job. And I'm like, what? I'm like, huh?
Yes.
That bar was too low for me, but I had to understand that everybody not going to receive the information the same way that everybody else, and everybody not going to take action on it. As coaches, as teachers, right? What I would call you, in terms of being a life teacher, right? It's bigger than basketball. If y'all doing community service, or if y'all doing other things around, you going to, to your players' graduations and taking pictures with them, or, some of the girls' teams, and, you help develop the whole individual, right? So it's bigger than just basketball, but how are we going to use that basketball to get us what we want? Because the basketball, right? And here's how basketball and life relates. Basketball is really like the streets in a sense. It'll use you and chew you up and throw you out when it don't need you no more, or when you ain't benefiting it. You know what I'm saying? And parents and athletes, have to understand that ball is going to bounce for, even as a referee, because I see you with your stripes now, you're getting that different type of, basketball though, right? But, but as referees and as coaches, and one, I salute you for it. Ref told me a long time ago, he said, Carville, if you want to be a better coach, become a ref. He said, now you will see what they see.
Yes.
And now you ain't arguing everything. And I'm like, okay. And as coaches, we don't understand referees are human too, right? I didn't understand until I was on the other side. Mm-hmm. So, they got feelings and everything too, right? So you can get on the official's bad side, and in all honesty, but like we have to understand that it's all a process of developing ourselves and getting better. But if we hold that basketball up and let it drop to see how much air in it, at a certain point, that ball gonna stop bouncing. Yeah. Your career is that same way. If you hold it up when you're young and let it bounce, it's gonna go way back up. But after a while, boom, and then it's gonna start going real fast. Because as you say, like you said, it seemed like yesterday. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't. So, but now with Vincent and now the whole COVID thing, you all aren't playing. Talk to us a little bit about one, and that graduation rate is huge because coaches in college get fired for having bad APRs, right? Being able to graduate over 90% of your players is amazing, inner city or not. Talk about now, like how COVID and you all not playing Like, what are some things that you're maybe doing with your athletes, because it's affecting, and here's what I tell parents: when they're not on the court, they're losing their physical rhythm, but they're losing their mental rhythm too, because they're not, thinking, instinctively and all those things. What are some things that you all are doing right now? And then, we got coaches all the time, like, what seniors, how many seniors, it's a picture up, you sign one of your kids, or one of your kids signed with, my guy Mick at Oakton, I guess a couple years back. But like, talk to us about your seniors and what are some things that you're doing to be able to help them or their parents kind of understand that it's still a bigger picture than just this season.
Some of the things we've tried to do, we've tried to have, if not weekly, bi-weekly Google Meets. So like on Wednesdays is like a student support day. So, we may have a Google Meet with myself, our college and career guy. He does wonderful things with providing resources and information for the kids for virtual college tours, jobs, whatever. So I'll try to keep him on a call with us, and our AD as well. To do wellness checks, just to make sure guys are well. They haven't been, a number of them haven't been as responsible as they should have, because it's affecting them, mentally. It's more mental now, because just being in the house and not being able to do what you want to do, and seeing other guys, your peers,
other people, playing.
And it's like, wow, why can't we get that opportunity? It's sad, because we're the largest district in the state.
Okay.
And we have the most at-risk youth, in the state. And it's like, wow, what about us? You know what I'm saying? Like, some of these guys and some of these kids in any sport, not just basketball, but I know we're talking about basketball, but every sport, especially the seniors. I felt so bad for the seniors in every sport last year, college, whatever level, because they didn't get that opportunity to play in the season. And same thing this year. Our guys didn't even get started.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't have a chance. And on paper, we had a chance we had possibly a championship run in our, with our team, but now we're not going to be able to experience that. And so now they're trying to figure out with recruiting. That's why I was telling guys, listen, make sure, you make your huddle, get your grades up, everything, because now, what are we going to do? Like, how are we going to get you, recruited? What are the things? They have NCSA and stuff like that. But it's like, now coaches want to see, what have you done for me lately? And so that opportunity that you may have to go to, let's say UIC, that may be gone now. You're going out there and looking at the other guy, because you still may be good, but you haven't done anything, and it's not your fault. Important provided with the opportunity, circumstances. So with our guys, has been trying to just check in and see how they're doing mentally. I had a student, one of my best players, yesterday. He sent me a picture of him. I guess he got to send it to Howard College.
Okay, that's good.
Guys, they're still fighting out, and I told them, we have team snaps, and I just said, man, I just feel for y'all and the families, because we're all trying to figure this out. I'm gonna do what I can to help. As far as the recruiting, but at the same time, it's we all behind the 8 ball. We're all
and hell, we all got we're all dealing with our own mindset, or things that we may be dealing with in our lives right now, as well as families, and other things, but I tell you this, from me to you, and for the people that don't know, you and I connected through Marquette Camp. And when you talk about relationships, we've been, and that was back during Buzz time, and Buzz has been at a couple different places. But so when you talk about relationships, we've been knowing one another for over a decade. But from me to you, one of those Google Meet weeks, what I'm saying, let me know. I come in and I talk to them, virtually, and I'll give them some blueprints, some of the same things that I talk to my clients about, because basically what you're saying too too is kind of like out of sight, out of mind. And what a lot of student athletes don't, they only know how to be seen when being on the court, yes, and not necessarily knowing what and how to do things to be seen, even though they weren't off the court. And as you said, if they don't have the work ethic that we had, you know, or the mindset to be innovative, syrup sandwiches, biscuits, right, whatever it might be, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to do what I have to do to still get to that end goal. Does that make sense? Definitely. So now they just, you know, and it's so much taboo. Yes, athletes, you know, and all colleges can have an extra year. But as I tell parents, coaches ain't gonna want all them athletes back. It don't matter if they grant an extra year or not. Right. And then all athletes ain't gonna want to come back and play for that. You got some that's gonna want it, seniors that's gonna want to get on with their life. You got some that ain't gonna like the program. You know what I'm saying? So where people see, oh man, the transfer portal, kids, you know, they can earn a year eligibility. That don't mean that everybody is gonna do it. This is the best time for those 2, 3, 4-star athletes, because now really everybody kind of on the same plane in terms of we going after the same thing and we all dealing with the same thing. Yeah, you have some that's still playing through the midst of the pandemic, but it's still a pandemic. So, you know, coaches ain't necessarily getting on airplanes, you know, come to see you no more than they come to see me. So how can I get in front of them? That's the thing that, you know, that they need to know and be encouraged. So yeah, from me to you, you know, I mean, you already know how we get out. Just let me know, you know, send me the link and I get on. But before I let you go, man, because I know that we both got to go. We got things to attend to with our families. With not being an official, how has that changed your lens when you look? So like with me being a official, I would be doing more teaching than refereeing, and I would have to catch myself and I would have to call a player from each team because I didn't want them to think I was being biased. You know, call one, you know, say a point guard from each team at the free throw line and tell them something. Or if I'm at the free throw line, there's a kid next to me, I might, you know, how come I got the foul? You know, so I found myself doing a lot of teaching. But what's the biggest thing with refereeing and coaching? And then I'm gonna let you go because I know wifey on you.
With refereeing, like you said, we coach. I mean, we referee a number of youth games, so it's more teaching. Like if I call a call, you know, on a, you know, young guy or young girl, you know, 4th, 5th grade, I would explain to them, you know, what happened. And, you know, one thing that I found is, you know, parents like that. You know, I would have parents come to me, you know, yeah, I like what you know, interacting with my told me, you know, this and that. And I'll tell them, hey, I coach high school, you know, I'm looking at it from a different lens. Because I remember when I first started coaching, you know, one of the refs I know, he said, man, if you be yelling like that, when you be coaching, you're not gonna last long.
Right.
So then, you know, I put on my ref lens and it's like, you know, you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
Seeing it from a different perspective. And, you know, especially with the younger ones, it's more teaching, like how to line up correctly on the free throw, you know, charge call, like all of that. And then when we do high school games, it's you doing a little bit of teaching as well.
Yeah.
You know, I got to tell them, hey, you know, I'm gonna just tell you this, you know, you can't be hand checking, woo woo. I saw you did that. I didn't call it, but just watch, you know, just trying to tell them, like, okay, that's kind of, you know, the approach I kind of take with it, because you know they're not going to learn unless, you know, someone tells
somebody teach them,
a referee tell them. So I remember the ref told me that, you know. So that's the approach I take, coach, with it. You know, with refereeing, it's good to look at it from both perspectives. Now, my young one, she's 9, she's playing AAU, so now I'm a parent again. Her blossom, and you know, we work out like 3-4 times a week, so she wants it. So you know,
before you leave, man, my last question to you: can you give us 1 or 2 quick pointers on shooting a jump shot, and how can we make basketball better? And I think that those 2 pointers, by teaching a little bit, will go into that second question.
Well, with shooting, 2 things. Everybody talk about, the beef acronym, but hand position, straight wrist. It's all about, muscle memory and things of that nature. But one thing, coach, that I can't stand, and if anyone's watching, is when players, they get out on the floor, the first thing they want to do is get behind that 3-point line and just start chucking up shots. That is one of the worst things you can do as a basketball player, especially coming up. So if anyone's young people, when you step out on the court, shoot some mid-range, shoot some form shots. That's one thing that I always do. When we do it in practice every day.
Yeah.
We're on the floor, boom, form shots. We in front of the rim, one hand, shooting hand or whatnot. Then we add the guide hand. And that's how you develop into the muscle memory. Guys just want to get out there. That 3-point line is fool's gold for a lot of people. Like, you can barely make a layup or mid-range, but you want to get out here and shoot a 3-point shot. So you have to work your way in and work your way out first. So that's one tip I'll try to give on shooting. It's all about muscle memory. Shooting things, form shooting, lay on your back. We do it every day. I do it with my daughter.
Yeah.
Every day. We working out every day. Form shoot, and now her shot has got better. I'm like, ooh, okay, she gonna. Yeah. It helps because it's repetition, coach. You know how it is. Yeah. Repetition. It ain't anything like
repetition and technique.
Become a better reader, thing. So it's practice. It's practice.
Yeah.
And what was the last one?
How can we make basketball better?
I would say, and this is kind of, it can go both ways.
No, straight shooter, give it to us.
We have a lot of, parents that's, holding the basketball players down. They're trying to live their life through their son, child, or whatever. So, I mean, everybody wants the best for their child. But at the same time, you have to let them, kind of grow up a little bit in terms of that. But in terms of as far as on the court, guys have to have skill development, skill development, all the cones and stuff, all that's good. But what about the fundamentals? And that's why the foreigners, at one point, coach, they were getting the first 8, 9, 10 picks because of the fundamentals.
Yeah.
And that's what our kids are missing. It's okay to do the James Harden, some travel step back Euro, but learn how to do a left hand layup first before you do all that. So if we get back to the fundamentals and be fundamentally sound, coach talk about fundamentally sound, then I think basketball would be better. And that starts at the lower level.
Yeah.
Because we got to break a lot of habits once we get to high school. So if we get back to the fundamentals of basketball and stuff, I think basketball be, go a better way.
Hey man, that's great advice. What you say? Step back, travel, fade away. Hey man, I can't. No,
it is a travel. Sometimes it's not, but kids are seeing that. You know how it go, and they want to like Steph Curry.
But the rules in the NBA, as opposed to high school and college, are different.
And we were talking about the other day. Yes.
And those rules are different. Anybody that don't believe that they're different probably should go back and study the rules. Tay, I ain't gonna hold you because I don't want to get you or me in trouble by our wives, man. But listen, man, from the bottom of my heart, really, I appreciate you coming here, not only sharing your story, but being able to educate us. What I heard, the biggest thing, even in your last comment about parents living vicariously, it's kind of like, let them ride the bus. Like, that's what I heard, what you were saying earlier. And we, not figuratively, because it may not be as safe now, but you have to let them find their own way, and, that's one of the biggest takeaways that I took from this episode, that built the foundation for you. And you still carry it not only to this day with you, but you give back and you teach, with everybody else, man. So again, coaches, to my college coaches that watch this, go check out Vincent Milwaukee, check out Coach Revonte Dantzler. You can, hit him on Facebook. If you got any athletes, if you got, some and, need me to make the connection, let's do it, because you will get athletes that will be student athletes. And as Tay said, you don't have to worry about, because on that college level, coaches ain't looking to get fired because of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not worth my job. And so coaches know when they get certain players from certain people, they know what type of person they're going to get. And as coaches, we can teach the game so we can make people better. So, Tay, man, I appreciate you. We're going to have to do this again when both of us have a little bit more time, because I really want to get, and I'm going to say this publicly, and I want you to put it together, because Doug was supposed to be on last year, but Doug is the Snapchat king right now. But I really want to get a group of Milwaukee coaches on, because I think the people are asleep on Milwaukee, and I want to do this with a group of us. So if you can get a group of like 4 or 5 of them, together, and let's hop in, let's really talk about the hidden gold mine that's right up the street on North 94. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I appreciate you, my brother. Again, y'all go check out BeTheRightRecruit.com. It's a free training to help you understand, from my vantage point, what they really don't tell you about the college level. And tell your wife that I said thank you. I know y'all got a party to go to. I holler at you. I holler at y'all. Merry Christmas to everybody. And as I say in every episode, keep striving for the top, because it is crowded as hell at the bottom. All right. So until next time, Tay, I appreciate you, my brother. Let's set that up, though, and we'll be in contact. All right, my people. Merry Christmas to y'all. We'll talk to y'all later. All right. Yes, sir. Peace.
Thanks, y'all.